Do you know, I've thought about doing this for a while. I think the only thing that's held me back has been two things. What's the point? Like, what do I actually have to offer? And who's going to listen? So I decided to do it a bit different this time and not give myself a chance to do the intro because at this point, no one really knows me and just dive straight in. And it will be raw format. I'm not going to try and edit it as much as possible. I'm going to try and leave it as it is and do it in one take. So we'll see how good or bad this goes. So what would I tell my younger self? I'm sat here now looking at him, me. I'd probably say don't worry about where you're going because you have no idea where you're going. Just learn to enjoy the walk. We get brought up with primary school and you've got all your hopes and dreams in high school and college. And if you go to their university and you have a direction, you're told to do this class and do this course and look at this discipline. But how much of that is you and your dreams? How much of that is a tinge of what your mum and dad and your teachers want you to do? How much of it is the social peer and the social pressure around you, what you think you should be doing? I went to Stockport Grammar, so I went to a private school where a lot of the direction there was about laws, um, you know, high vocational jobs, doctors, finance, and I didn't do any of that. I was on a good path until the last couple of years, and then I just let it all hit the pan. Mainly because I discovered drugs, and they were quite fun. And by the time I realised they weren't as fun as you find out in OK Magazine, it was too late, or so I thought. So I thought, what can I do with myself next? So then I began the path of looking for different jobs, looking for different disciplines. Ended up doing shelf stacking, delivery driving. At one point, I was a nude butler, semi-nude butler. That was quite fun. And then the fire service, and then became a PT. And when I became a PT, I didn't choose in 10 years' time to sit in front of the camera and spill my guts out. I became a PT because I liked training, I talk a lot, and the two seem to go hand in hand. I had no idea that 10 years later I'd have my own business building and that it would allow me to have a house and a family and a lifestyle that I wished I could have had when I was younger. And it still wants me to have more. It's actually given me a better direction and mindset than all the exams and um, qualifications and job opportunities I thought I needed to have in college. So here we are. So don't worry about direction because you don't know yet. If you're watching this at 16, 18, even your 20s or 30s, you're still not meant to fully know. There's people in their 40s and 50s that I train and speak to regularly that still wish they could have done this or that or take on a new path. So learn to enjoy the walk more than anything else, and the rest will follow. And you'll find that if you have the right discipline, the right amount of grit about you, you'll end up getting somewhere pretty good anyway. If you just keep aiming higher, you might not go the most ideal route up the mountain, but if you wait long enough and you keep pursuing, you'll get to the top and you're guaranteed a good view and probably some nice memories along the way. So that is what I tell myself. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. I think a lot of us, we're all kids. We all went to college, university. We're all 18 up here. I still don't feel 33. I know I'm not old. I'm not exactly young. And I don't feel anything like my age when I see my birth, my year of birth, and I see the years passing by, and we're entered into 2026 now. I don't feel like I'm a 33-year-old man running a business with a family. I feel like I'm, just leaving my mum's house. I've spent the weekend on the gin, on the sauce, and waking up with doner kebab after going on the Xbox. I used to really like playing Call of Duty until the expansion packs just got too fucking big. So it's really about trying to explain to people I don't know what I'm doing as I go along. I'm finding out as I do things which bits I like and which bits I hate, and finding the bits of them that I want to take along with me. But it's all about building the person that you need to be for the obstacles that you're going to face later in life. And you'll know if you've done a good job when you face them, I'm sorry to say, because there's no way of preparing yourself for those certain points in life until you meet them. Which brings me on to point two, navigating the reality checks. There are certain points in life when it's sort of like, oh shit, I'm getting older. Like the first one was the end of college, and we had our last day of school, and everyone brought their own uniform in, which basically meant you wear your own uniform and just graffiti the fuck out of it. And it was just all torn up, your ties on sideways because you think you're a bit of a gangster, and your shirts untucked because that year you can do, because what they're going to do, kick you out. They actually could if they wanted to. I think I was suspended for the first, I think it was about a month or two up until that point. So I missed like the last bit of summer term. Like I said, I learned to be a bit of a knobhead in the final years. So I came back for the final day. And the night before, I went to my friend's house. I won't name his name, Aaron. And we went round to his house and we smoked a copious amount of cannabis. And I can't remember what time I went to bed. but it must have been late because I looked like shit in the morning. And I went to school and I thought I was this cool guy with all this weed on me, smoking joints, met in a park near to school and walked to school. Looking back, I looked rough as houses. And we had the big, hurrah on the school field and had all the ceremonies and they gave out wooden spoons, most likely to succeed. I think was I Hardy's geezer? I was something pretty, at the time, you wave the spoon around like it's a badge of honour. Looking back, that spoon's in someone's attic and I couldn't give a shit if I never see it again. And then I missed the evening because I went home shattered because I hadn't slept. I said to Mum, "Want to have a 5 minute nap, half an hour nap?" And I remember her waking me up nearer to midnight. And the realization then that I'd missed the last night out of school, I potentially wasn't going to see a lot of people again, ever. And it was now a new chapter of life. There wasn't any more school. I couldn't go and redo that day, redo that year. It was, this is it. The people you knew and the situation you had is gone. Now it's the after. So that was reality check number one, I think, leaving school and that whole, oh shit, mum, what am I going to do with myself? And for a while, I did nothing. I think I worked in Sainsbury's, I worked at Royal Mail, KFC, Indian, Chinese, hydroponics, a bit of labouring, house removals, decorating. I didn't really decorate, I just sort of threw paint at the wall and then got paid like a pittance for it. And I think in the end, the job we did, they actually asked for the money back because it's awful. I don't think they got the money back. Sorry, by the way. And then finally, I came onto the fire service after leaving working at a supermarket, and I just left in the middle of a shift, in the middle of the night. And I remember driving home thinking, yeah, that was really good. You told the boss, you gave him what for. Immediately followed by, what have you just done? You're getting paid decent wage, you had money coming in, security, now what? And by pure chance, there was an opening in the fire service at the time that I told my friend about, and he reminded me about the next day. And we applied, and we both got in. They must have been really scraping the barrel because it took me on. And so for a year and a half, I think, I was legitimately farming Sam. That's probably the only reason I took the job. And then the money from that and the experience from that made me realize I want to do something for somebody else to help people. And I took the money, put it into the qualification to be a PT, because at the time it was a big thing. It was starting to become get more traction, more momentum. And I became a PT from 2016. And my first role, tell a lie, the first gym I went to, I beat 800 people and got down to the final 3 candidates. And I did a week-long boot camp. It was all going well. And at the end of it, you have a one-to-one. And the guy said, "Why do you want to go to this company and work here?" And I'd done 4 psychographic tests. I'd done a case study. I'd done a week-long boot camp, like I said, doing all the practical work. And I said, because I've got a drug addiction and this is my breakaway, this is my chance to sort of show myself I can do more and give myself accountability. And then he decided that I wasn't a right fit for the gym. And I was pissed off at the time. I mean, I always taught myself to be honest, just get it out there and let the world figure out what to do with you. And that was the first sort of another reality check that sometimes you can be too honest. And if you're not done fighting demons inside, there's no point showing somebody else the fight you're going through. So I agreed to go to therapy at a place nearby, about 30, 40 minutes away. I went there once a week for about 4 or 5 weeks. And during those sessions, I realized if I have to go through all these hoops and still not be qualified as good enough for these guys, maybe they're not right for me. So I went back through my contacts, found another gym that had done an open day when I was doing the course, spoke to the guy, "Do you remember me?" "Yeah, sure, of course you do," but he actually did. Met him and never looked back. And that was me 10 years ago. And if I'd gone for the first job, I don't know where I'd be now, in truth, because it gave me the drive, losing that position, to cling on to the next one with everything I could muster. It's important you don't cling to your youth. It's there for a reason. Enjoy it. Don't keep looking back and reminiscing and wondering what if. Learn to love the experience of getting older as well. There's a lot of wisdom comes with that, and lessons learned and opportunities missed, but that's all part of it. If you missed him the first time, there's a pretty bloody good job you're going to miss him the second time, because that was you at that point. You can't rewind time and be this old. You rewind time, you'll be that young again, and you will have the same mindset. You're talking about interfering with the past. You don't want to do that, because if you take your mindset and as you are now and go back in the past and try and tweak things in your favor, you're playing around with what made you you. All the good and the bad. So learn to embrace it rather than try and navigate away from it. And I guess that brings me to the next point, is why am I doing this? The channel is going to be called Dad Diaries, just because it's literate and people like things that sort of, sound like they rhyme. It's not actually about just dads, I couldn't do, I don't think moaning mums has the right ring to it. You're either going really, 18 plus, or it just sounds like I'm taking the piss. And you can't really sell career chats. It just hasn't got. It sounds a bit LinkedIn TED Talky. I wanted to just do something nice and simple, and I am a dad. My little boy is now nearly 8 months old, um, and that I'll get to in a minute has been another like sort of one of reality checks and shocks to the system. And so it was when I was going from having the job at the gym and working with customers and clients, then building my business up, that I was feeling more confident, making more money. And just before COVID, I felt really like a good, strong place. Then COVID hit and it just wiped the whole thing out. Like, the legs from underneath me were gone. And you hit that really awkward reality of shit. Like, I've just spent 5, 6 years building this. Now it's gone. Can I get it back? Do I want it back? Will it ever be the same? Have I wasted 5 years? 5 more questions I can't think of now, but probably had in my head at the time. And you just learn to muddle on. And then you can take the opportunities as and when you see fit. You can take the risk, or you can play it safe. But along the way, I've always had this niggling thought, like I wish I could just sort of pass it on to somebody else, like sort of, the anxieties I had and the doubts I had, so they know, okay, I've not got, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one having these points. I ended up coming out of COVID really well. I doubled down on doing the one-to-one, doing more sort of connecting with people during sessions. It went really well. I'm very fortunate to say, touch wood, that I have a solid business. But it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been linear, and it isn't stable. Really, in reality is you're dealing in a service business. If anything where you do it for yourself, you're relying on yourself and your word of mouth and your recognition and your level of service that passed around, your reputation, sorry, to push you forward. That doesn't always guarantee results either, because there's a little bit of luck in there and timing. People say, "Oh, I make my own luck," blah 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 blah, but there is a little bit of timing. You could have the same MLB, baseball winning pitch throwing at the gate every single day for an hour a day for a year. You still need the scout to walk past and see you throw it for you to get signed. I don't play baseball. I've no idea why I use baseball, but I have. Here we are. So it's about letting people know, dads, career professionals, people looking to change jobs, people stuck in a job they don't like, thinking, what else is there out there for me? People that are just starting out that have no idea where they are. People at the end of their rope thinking, Christ, I've spent 30, 40 years doing this. What next? Or retiring, done, but not sure what to do with themselves. Or mums. It's for all of you that have any element of doubt about what you've been doing and where you should be going. This is for you to say, it's okay. Like it's part of the journey. It might not be the nicest thing to accept, but you don't get all the answers. And I think if you did, it'd be pretty dull. It wouldn't let you deal with the enormity of life and getting older. Because any game you've got cheats on, there's a reason why everyone doesn't go playing around cheat codes all the time. It's actually quite fun to not know what you're going to be doing and not know if you're going to get through it okay. Because it adds an element of risk, curiosity, and excitement. It gives you a reason to actually try because you don't know the outcome. So you might as well give it your best. And along the way, there will be points when you think, crap, I've tried enough here. I keep getting beat back. I'm 1 step forward, 2 steps back. I haven't got it in anymore. What do? Do you accept that's your lot in life and just stop there? Or do you try a little harder at something else and try and flip the script? Do you try and push a little harder back and see if this time you can break through? Do you re-navigate, reorientate the path you're going down a little bit and change your tune? Try and catch the wind in your sails and follow a different path? Do you rip the whole script up and try something completely new? I think a lot of people reach that point, and I've had plenty of them. Even just this Christmas, just now in 2025, 2026, I had 5 or 6 clients just stop. One was for a legitimate reason of just having to look for a new job, so he's wanting a bit more financial security. So for now, I'm just going to, try and bring down the overheads. And I'm a service. I'm probably the first service that goes when things get tough, frankly. Another one's got an opportunity to go to a new gym for a couple of months, so he's going to go there. One wants to work out with a daughter. One wants to go down to 1 session a week from 2 because he's going to be moving away from the area. Legitimate reasons. There's nothing wrong with that. None of them said, you shit. And some have agreed they're going to come back, but they haven't said when. That's the nature of the job. And all of a sudden, going into the Christmas period, several £100 a month, a week, a month down, several £1,000 a year down. And that is just the nature of life and the choice I have made that's brought me to this point. And there've been points when I've not been okay with it, but I'm okay with it, if you know what I mean. It's just navigating the fact that I chose to do this. I could have got a job on a salary basis working admin somewhere and get a nice easy check at the end of the month for doing emails. I didn't want that. I want to see what else I can do. And this gives me the scope to do that. But it also, the caveat is, it will push back. I don't just get to go the way I want with no repercussions. So this is for all the people that have those doubts, whether you're employed or self-employed, whether you want more. This is for the people that want more. And what does more mean? Because usually if you want more, it means it's going to take more. It's fact. You don't get without giving. I know it sounds cliche, but it's true. You can spend your whole life trying to win the lottery, and some people do, but they've still had to give a lot of money and time to buying the scratch cards, the opportunities to get to that point. You don't just get straight away. I'm sorry. Some people say, oh, I'll know Barry down the street when he's a million with his first. Shut up. Like, that's the exception. That's the 1 in a billion chance. It's designed so that on the vast majority of cases, that isn't how it works. Otherwise, the National Lottery would be broke. You won't have, what's it called? You won't have postcode lottery, would you? You'd have postcode food bank because they couldn't afford to give out thousands of pounds. They're just giving out some bean tins and some spam. And this brings on to the next point, I think, in my life where, so this all happened, COVID happened, and then we decided after that we wanted to get a house, but not just any house, because I felt I'd missed out because it was a couple of years. I wanted to get the next best house I possibly can, and skip a house and go to the second house. So we looked around for a while, maybe 4 or 5 months of trying this place, that place. Didn't know where I wanted to live, to be fair. I knew I wanted to live near to where I work, but not exactly have an idea because I always drove to work, came in, came out and went home. So I started looking around the area, and it's in between 2 houses, that I found the place where we are now. It was my partner, actually, that at one point, at some point I'll bring her on here to do her own chat, but for now it's all about me. And she recommended we go and look at this place, and we had like an hour spare. We ended up cancelling the next 2.5 hours of appointments and spending it with this guy, and we left there telling him we'd put an offer in. I rang him the next day, told him I wanted the house. He rang the day after and said it's yours. It took another like 2.5 to 3 months to get the paperwork and documents signed and get the house. And all the way along, you're excited. All this money I've built, all these skills I've got, I'm going to do this to the house, I'm going to dedicate this, I'm going to get more clients. I remember the day that I got the actual contract. I was with a client on the gym floor, going through some pattern work with them, doing some like core mobility stuff. I remember being overjoyed. Told my missus, we've got the house, everything's through, blah, blah, blah. Sent documents over, sent the password so we could both look at it and both sign it. That night I had a panic attack. I got in bed, I said, good night, love you, give her a kiss, turned over and full on, like I started hyperventilating quietly. But it was more like, it was the next checkpoint of, oh shit, I'm getting older. I don't get to go back to being in my mum's bedroom after a night of being on the lash and playing Xbox and having her bring my tea up to me. I'm an adult. It's time to move on. It's time to start putting my own roots down. And the matter of fact is, I don't get to go back. Looking back now, I would have told myself, but who do you want to be now? Like, this is your choice to completely rewrite your own skit. You've got a fresh slate. Who do you want to be in this new house? What's your theme? What's your vibe? What makes you comfortable? Let it be part of your character. That's the whole point of having a house, a home, is to make it an extension of yourself. So when you leave the 9 to 5 or the 8 till 8 and the noise is following you home, when you come in that door and you get to your abode, you feel relaxed, you feel calm, you feel content. That's what it should be about. And then if you want more, you push a little harder, you try a little more, you deal with a bit more shit. Sorry, that was an air freshener. You deal with a bit more shit, and eventually you get more rewards and you get the next house, which you make into your next home, and etc. And then it depends how far down that path you want to go. Some people chase it for infinity. Some people decide after 1 or 2, this is me, I'm comfy, I'm happy, it's my forever home. I don't know where I am yet, if I'm honest. I want another house, we'll be getting another house in the coming years. I can't tell you where I'll stop because I think it'd be boring if I knew. I want to see where I am as we go. So that was the next reality check for me. It was a matter of, okay, I have my own house, I've got to move in now. And then we already talked about, the marriage or the kid or the dog, which one comes first. And we'd always had an idea of like it would be, well, first we get married because that seems like the common sense thing to do. Then you might get a dog to see how it is looking after something that requires your attention. Then finally it leads to a kid. Didn't work that way at all. Haven't got a dog, haven't got a ring, got a kid. That came in between us moving in, us breaking up for half a year and us getting back together. And I think in a bittersweet way, that was also needed because it taught us very important things. I need to stop being so focused outwards on other people and what I think I should be doing and putting my self-worth on what they're seeing of me. I'd spend some time for myself. Like, what do I like doing? I like reading books. I like listening to science and technology and podcasts. I like playing golf by myself. I like doing jigsaws. I like playing games. I like staring at the stars. I like smoking cannabis. After a long 15-hour day, when I come home and I want to read a book and do some studying, I'm going to smoke some cannabis. A lot of the hard drugs are gone. They're all gone. I don't really drink. I've got a crate of wine right now with about 4 or 5 bottles, and brandy and whiskey and champagne. I like a smoke. Sue me. But it also made me realise that I need to be this person, let this character of me out, so that I can then allow other people to see me for who I am, and they can trust that what they're getting is what they've got. I'm not going to put some false face on to try and lure them in before I reveal the real me. Start being who you want to be, because you realise pretty quickly if it's a good or bad person, because society will tell you. If you right now have got a solid friendship group and you have a nice job and you're fairly physically fit and your bank account isn't screaming, what did be screaming your bank account? Probably nothing, because it's empty. You've probably got it all right. You're probably doing quite well. It's about taking all the things you can find gratitude for and then build on them. You don't have to settle right now, but just the things you have right now. Do you have a roof? Do you have friends? Can you eat well? Do you have a social life? Do you have a decent family? Do you have people you could call to right now and say, how are you doing? Can we have a chat? If all the answers there are yes, 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 I promise you, you're not doing bad at all. So then we get to the house and we move in and then break up and we get back together again. And then little Hudson comes along last year and it was completely unplanned. But I said to her, we're going to do this. I promised you I would if it happened, and here we are, so I am. And it took us 9 months, because these things do. You know, you got to put the flour with the oil and give it a mix and stick it in the pan. And out came our little loaf. And I wouldn't change a thing. It does create the next level of anxiety. Like, can I afford to take him to the school I want him to go to? Can I give him the support he needs? And we got to take him on holiday. Is he going to have a brother or sister? But again, I wouldn't rewind it, even though as I'm talking about it and as I think about it, it gives me the reality check. I'm older again. I've now not just moved out of my mum's house into my own house. I've now created my own family in that house. We can't all move back into my mum's bedroom, as nice as it is. It's a double bed as well with an ensuite, so I'm giving up quite a bit. It's just part of the journey. And along the way, you pick up things you can pass back on to people. So I'm having these conversations with people in sessions, and we do. It's not just about fitness, it's about mindset, it's about who you want to be. Because when you're trying to change yourself, you think you want to lose body fat or gain muscle. What you want to do is be a different person, or at least amend the person you are and become someone better. And that requires real psychological shifts in who you are, what you appreciate, and where you are aiming for. So that's a very brief, I mean, probably like 10 minutes, but it's a very brief interlude to where we are now. And there will be more episodes to come as well, because I want to try and give you like a regular breakdown of what I'm going through, almost as a form of therapy. I've done therapy. It was useful. I will probably do it again in the future, but I learned from that you can't rely on anybody to ask you the questions you're craving for, because you know what they are. And if you listen hard enough, the answer's in there. 9 times out of 10, it's just being drowned out by everyone else's noise. So I think my closing point, I will sort of bring this to a point now because I've been waffling for quite a bit, I'm getting quite cold. Don't worry about where you're going. Direction comes from momentum. Once you start going forward, you quickly realize if it's a direction you want to go to, because you'll see the scenery that's coming forward. So learn to enjoy the journey. Don't cling to your youth. Learn to embrace age and wisdom and change. Find purpose. When you're doing things, when you're working out, when you're working in your job, when you're building a life, building a social group, why? Always ask yourself, why am I doing this? What am I getting out of this? When you take on a new hobby, do things for yourself that are selfish, which allows you to be a better person so you can be selfless. And finally, don't be afraid to talk about it. I mean, this right now might get 10 views. Fine. I think just to start out, just getting this out of my head so I can think, okay, is it something I want to carry on doing? Is it something that maybe just isn't going to pan out? But I feel like it's something I want to give back as part of a multitude of things that are inside my head. This is one sprog that I want to just see. Is it going to help somebody who's in their sort of depths of what am I going to do? Who am I? To think, oh shit, okay, I'm not on my own. And if that's the case, well done, thank you. Let me know what your bank details are so I can invoice you accordingly. Other than that, it has been a pleasure speaking to you. And I look forward to breaking down more of these as we go. It's not even coffee, by the way. That's Coke Zero. It just looks more professional if I put it in a mug. Okay, episode 1 of Dad Diaries. Done.